Well, I think I'm going to make a wood gas stove. I've been thinking about this, and a wood gas stove is sort of a spin-off to a rocket stove. It operates on the same principle, being that the temperature of the wood creates wood gas, which ignites, and when it reaches that temperature and it starts releasing wood gas, the stove no longer is operating off the flame itself, or the wood itself, but the gas that the wood is releasing. Now, when this wood gasification occurs, it releases several different gases. Several are inert, but the two we're concerned about, the ones that actually burn, are hydrogen and methane. And I don't know what the percentages are, but it's a pretty high percentage, like 20% of the gas released from the wood is flammable. And those are the gases that burn, and those are the gases that can even run a combustion engine. But I'm going to start slow because I don't completely understand the wood gasification process. And I want to understand it completely before I go all the way to running an engine off of it. Now, here's what I've got. I'm going to make two stoves, and I bought this for 18 bucks at Walmart. They're carbon steel, they're not aluminum. So I'm going to make two wood gas stoves out of this. I'm going to make one that's just a standard wood gas stove, and another one that is a wood gas stove with a twist. It'll have forced air, and I'm going to see if there's a big enough difference between the two to justify adding a fan to it. And the way I'll determine that is to light them both using the same fuel at the same time, and when they're both to the point where they're both creating wood gas, I'll put, let's say, a quart of water in a can on each stove and see which one boils first. So this is probably going to be a several part video. I'm going to actually make the wood gas stove without the forced air first. And I can't tell you what the CFM is on this fan. There's no information on it besides the watts. It's 1.7 watts. It's really small. It may not be big enough. And it's 12 volt. And if I can find a solar panel that puts out 12 volts between now and then, that's what I'm going to use. And if not, I'll just use a couple of, I'll figure out how to make 6 volts from a battery. Or a couple of batteries. Alright, I'm going to get my tools out and get started with the first wood gas stove. Got one of my wife's sewing tape measures. I don't know what you call that, but it's flexible, you know. And the reason I did that is because I needed to measure the circumference of this, and it's just too hard to do with a tape measure. So what I did was measure the circumference of this. This is the outer chamber of the non-forced air wood gas stove. And I did the same thing to this, the smaller one, the inner portion. And I'm going to drill holes around the outer edge using a pilot bit and these step drills that my friend JWWM2 sent me. And I'm going to do about a ½ inch, and I've got the holes spaced pretty much exactly 1 inch apart all the way around the outer circumference of this here. And on the inner chamber, I'm going to drill 1/4 inch holes every ½ inch around the outside, and then I'm going to put a bunch of holes on the bottom of this, but not enough where the fire could burn through or anything, because I really don't want ashes falling down out of this. So I won't put too many holes in the bottom, but I'm going to put holes every ½ inch, 1/4 inch around the bottom edge. I'm going to have to do the same thing around the top edge, but I don't know whether I want to do it above this little rim here or below it, because I haven't decided yet what I'm going to fit this down inside of, whether I'm going to come up to this or all the way up to the rim. So I'm going to hold off on doing that until I find what I'm going to use to set this in. Okay, I'm going to drill these holes and I'll get back with you. I just wanted to show you how easy these step drills go through this. Thanks, John. I never had one of these before. I appreciate it. And I'm actually making 5/8 inch holes here. It's better to have more air than you're going to need than not enough. Okay, you get the idea. Alright, that's what the inner can looks like. I didn't go crazy on the holes in the bottom. And I only used an 1/8 inch bit in the bottom. These holes and these holes are 1/4 inch. These are 1/2 inch apart. These are 1 inch apart. Well, there we have it. There's one. And of course you knew I had to spice it up a little bit with some handles. Rather than go through the step-by-step directions of how I got this all together, what I'm going to do is take it apart and show you. First of all, I got these handles on here. They're just little door pulls that I had laying around, and they happen to be the same color. And what I've got is 4 bolts out the bottom just to keep this thing up off the ground a little bit. And I've got a wing nut in the middle here. I'm going to take this off and show you why. Alright, I did not have a solution to keeping this from moving around in here. So what I did, now this ring here, this is just a piece of tin that I cut with my curved tin snips. These are right hand cutting tin snips, and what that means is they cut a circle going around the right. Okay, I cut both the inner circle and the outer circle of the tin by just tracing around it with magic marker and then cutting a little bit at a time until I had it right. Same thing with this. I did the same thing with the top. So I didn't have a means of keeping this, number one, airtight and pulled down tight to the top of this. So I put a 3-inch carriage bolt down through the middle of that with a nut and a washer on the bottom. And all that does is just sock it all down tight. And then you put the washer and the wing nut back here, pulls it all together real tight. And when you want to take it apart and clean it out, it's easy as a wing nut. So there's one stove done. And I'm going to go ahead and put this video up because it might be kind of long. It's probably going to be a 3-part video. My next stove I'm going to build will have the forced air. It'll be similar to this, except it won't have the outside holes here. It'll have one hole and this up against that hole. And the air will get sucked in here, blown in around the outer chamber, and I'm hoping it'll force the gas out through these upper holes on the inner chamber. But I'm going to put this up, and the third video will be of me lighting these 2 stoves. Thanks for watching. If you got any questions, ask away. I just wanted to show you one more clip. I did put some pot standoffs, just some nuts and bolts. Kind of proud of that. That came out real nice. Took me about an hour and a half. Okay, and just one more little thing I want to say. I'm not going to use an intro on any of my videos. And I decided that because I have ads on my videos and I just can't make people sit through my ads plus a 15-second intro. And I have to have the ads because I'm in between employment right now. Isn't that a nice way of saying out of work? Okay, here we go. Putting it up. Thanks for watching.